Hello all, my name is Manjubashni Udayakumar. My registration number is 219253813. Today I will attempt to answer the much debated question of whether Anton Chekhov's play The Cherry Orchard is a comedy or a tragedy. Chekhov himself regarded his play as a comedy, and it is said that he famously disputed with the producer of his play when it was portrayed on stage as a tragedy. To this date, there is much contention over the interpretation of the play. Comedy and tragedy are two extremes in the spectrum of feelings, and for the same play to be able to be interpreted in both these ways is truly a unique characteristic of The Cherry Orchard. The main event around which the play revolves, which is the sale of the cherry orchard, does seem to be a rather tragic event. For Ranievskaya and her family, the cherry orchard is their home and a nostalgic part of their history. More than the monetary value, it holds sentimental value and memories of her childhood as recalled tearfully by Ranievskaya in several occasions. She feels the loss of the property as a loss of her own identity. Her absolute joy at returning home at the beginning of the play is seen when she says, "Is it really I who am sitting here? I want to jump about and wave my arms. But suppose I'm dreaming. God knows I love my own country. I love it deeply." This joy makes her subsequent loss even more heartbreaking. And the fact that the new owner, Lofekin, completely disregards the importance of the orchard to her and merely sees it as a plot of land to be profited from further adds to her tragedy. The cherry trees being cut down even before Ranievskaya has left the property, and the thud of the axe in the background felling the trees adds a very melancholic note to the ending of the play. But on the other hand, this sadness is counterbalanced by many elements of comedic relief through various characters, dialogues, and some absurd incidents as well. Epikhodov, with his continuous laments of misfortune about squeaky boots, a spider on his chest, and beetles in his drink, brings a dose of ludicrous hilarity to the play. Similarly, Charlotta, the governess, is another eccentric character with random outbursts and displays of magic out of nowhere, adding to the absurdity. For example, she suddenly declares that her dog also eats nuts, without any connection whatsoever to the ongoing conversation. Trofimov, who considers himself a serious scholar despite his inability to successfully complete his studies, is often ridiculed by various characters throughout the play. Threads of comedy run through the play with little jokes, sarcastic quips, and nonsensical actions littered throughout. Gaev suddenly praises the bookcase for serving justice, and Pischik, out of nowhere, grabs the pills from Ranievskaya and swallows them. There is even an occasion of slapstick comedy when Varya hits Lofekin with the umbrella by mistake. This dichotomy of comedy and tragedy is seen in some characters as well. For example, the protagonist of the play, Ranievskaya, has borne witness to a lot of tragedies in her life. The death of her son, being in a relationship where she was taken advantage of and later cheated on, and lastly, the loss of her beloved cherry orchard, her home. But these tragedies don't completely overtake her character. Even though her past experiences should make her a serious character, she displays certain farcical, somewhat comical behavior through the play. Her absolute refusal to face the reality and her willingness to keep living in the nostalgic past is one such example. Also, she orders expensive food which she didn't even like, tips waiters and peasants even though she can't afford it, and throws a party with a band with no way of paying for it. These frivolous, careless actions lend an almost caricature-like air to her character, hence taking us away from all her grief and sadness. Another such character is Fiers, the old manservant. At a glance, when he responds inappropriately due to his deafness and treats Guy like a child due to memory loss, for example, questioning him about his choice of trousers and scolding him about his bedtime, in instances like this, he seems like a comedic character, but his life is rather tragic. He has spent most of his life as a serf, and the attitude of inferiority and servitude is so ingrained in him, he doesn't know what to do with the freedom that came with emancipation. He has no goals and dreams for himself that he refuses to accept his freedom and continues to do what he has been doing his entire life. Yet sadly, all of his dedication and service to the family is not appreciated and rewarded the way it should be. At the end of the play, despite everyone asking each other about Fiers, they still don't put much effort into checking on him and end up abandoning him in the house. In conclusion, Cherry Orchard walks the fine line between tragedy and comedy. It is not entirely a tragedy, yet is not wholly light-hearted either. It could be classified as a tragic comedy, beautifully blending the elements of both. Serious matters and tearful dialogues are alternated with comedic punches and silly behavior. It could even be seen as a reflection of life where the duality of sadness and happiness exists, and focusing on the humor helps us deal with the sadness. Through the Cherry Orchard, Chekhov describes a pivotal moment in history, which was the downfall of the aristocrats and the rise of the bourgeoisie, in a very light-hearted manner. Thank you.